55 seconds of logos.
The future.
What X-Men movie trying to erase the past of every X-Men movie after X2 would be complete without some Patrick Stewart narration?
A dark, desolate world.
In fact, this world essentially became Tron. X-Men movie dips into the opening DNA credits yet again. So they wrote a discount Human Torch in the X-Men? That seems a little shortcutish. Oh, and they found a discount that robot thing from the first Thor movie as well. Huzzah! Why doesn't she shoot the portal to anywhere but this facility? This is so freaking cool, but let me ask you this. How can you throw something that opens a portal and have it open a second portal wherever you want without throwing something else? Does she program it with her mind before she throws it? Why can't purple portal girls zap them 300 yards away before they take off running? Most everyone in the X-Men universe has a power that is mental, physical, or elemental. This one opens portals. It's cool as shit, don't get me wrong, but this is more sorcery than a DNA trait. Why didn't she shoot the portal so that the Sentinel would go to the next floor or something, and not 5 feet away? Her power is walking through walls. Are we just going to give her mental time travel abilities as well, without any explanation? You could build Professor X a hover chair to get down the stairs, or, you could just make the stairs a ramp. The only way Marvel characters can be revealed as defense contractors is via magazine cover montages.
Mutants with the ability to transform herself into anyone.
Everyone f***ing knows who Mystique is. Just say her name already.
It was the first time she killed.
Wasn't her last.
Thanks, Wolverine.
In her DNA, they discovered the secrets to her powers of transformation. It gave them the key they needed to create weapons that could adapt to any mutant power.
How does figuring out the secrets of her transformation allow anyone to figure out all the powers in the mutant universe?
And in less than 50 years, the machines that have destroyed so many of our kind were created.
The hell took them so long? Was it just the fact that they needed to get to the era of the modern X-Men movies to make it work? I bet it was.
We can stop the Sentinels from ever being born.
And end this war before it ever begins.
Hey, Magneto hasn't said anything in a while. Let's just have him finish what Charles was saying. Wait, the Sentinels are about to attack just as they're doing the time travel ceremony?
I didn't have my powers in 1973.
Where'd they go? Will that be important for me to know before I go back in time? Maybe not.
Where do I find you? Well, it's complicated.
And we're going to withhold that information from the audience because the reveal is sure to be amazing. Going back to the 1970s, instant lava lamps and Roberta Flack tunes to help remind you. I'm ready to take your blood, Mr. Jackman, but I'm having trouble finding a vein. Sorry, I couldn't do that one without laughing. Well, just to be fair, for the ladies, scene does not contain an immortal adamantium-enhanced lap dance.
Peaceful thought.
Is way too late for that. He already got Rocky, and should, by the movie's own rules, already be hopping between past and present. Colonel Sanders, really? Is this an Adam Sandler movie?
But we have orders. This is a quarantined area.
Stand aside, soldier. That's an order.
My men follow orders or people die. Unless some other dude gives them orders that are different than mine. You're telling me Mystique had a chance to kill Stryker and didn't do it? Do you realize how much she could have spared us if she'd just snapped this dude's neck right now? Damn it. Nobody who militaries for a living notices this shit. Yeah, there's no way super-connected secret military Stryker guy can't find out where that plane is headed and have the mutants arrested upon landing. Not at all.
And I'm gonna say to you what you said to us then. F*** off.
Actually, he said, go f*** yourself. But I guess you can't expect this franchise to keep track of itself. Especially since this entire movie is just an excuse to wipe out half the movies it's produced.
I designed the serum to treat his spine. Derived from the same formula that helps me control my mutation.
Seriously? The serum that helps you control your mutation is in any way related to fixing spines? The f*** out of here.
He's just lost too much.
So how the hell did he ever get out of this funk in the original timeline without Logan here to break him out of it? Let's see, a joint in the ashtray, multiple bottles of liquor, too many candles for a dude, and a picture of Jennifer Lawrence. Yep, that's all the vices. Previously in a better X-Men movie. Oh, so he's in an inescapable prison under the Pentagon. Why couldn't you dicks just say that before? Also, how did he get out of prison before Logan went back in time? He obviously got out, as we've seen in his later Ian McKellen years.
Why is he in there?
What he forgot to mention.
Yeah, both Charles and Eric forgot to mention a lot of stuff before Logan went back in time.
JFK.
What else explains a bullet miraculously curving through the air?
Har, but honestly, seriously? Also, why couldn't he control the bullet better in the first place? This guy bends a bullet to hit Mystique without even seeing her later. Also, how did law enforcement even catch Eric in the first place? This story is bollocks. Bollocks, I tell you.
Be a young man now. Grew up outside of D.C. He could get into anywhere.
Funny that you would have never mentioned this dude to present-day Xavier or recruited him to the school or involved him in any other missions. Just kooky.
Just don't know how the hell we're gonna find him.
We have a phone book.
Because all young men are in phone books, and the guy you're looking for totally lives in the same surrounding zip codes to the mansion. I just don't understand the need to transform right now. Why not stay Trask the whole time? Lesser chance of surprises that way. Trask told the secretary that he just came to get a couple files, but she felt this list of names was important enough to run straight up to his office right now, because suspense.
We added some names to the Paris meeting.
Something we could easily have called you about hours before at your home, since it's so damn late the janitors are here cleaning up. But thanks to this awful timing, now Mystique knows exactly where to go next. Max him off. I barely know it. Okay, I'll go die in a fire now. Logan made a comment earlier about having no idea where to find Quicksilver, but movie says, f that shit. They go straight to his house. You know what thieving bastards like Quicksilver like to do? They steal Pepsi signs, and they're very loyal to one brand. Also, just because you use an era-appropriate Pepsi logo does not mean you're still not selling your soul. Guys trying to sneak into a place start by taking part in the standard public tour. Gee, where have I seen this before? Oh, I know. Every movie ever made! How did they figure out what time Magneto was getting fed every day? I realize you want to go to great lengths to show this guard has all glass shit instead of metal, but Jesus, does he have fucking spare glass bullets on his belt for a fucking glass-ass gun? So these guys aren't the same height. This probably shouldn't work. And if you're saying they are, it's a sin of convenience that he can fit in the same uniform. And look, I know there are tons of guards everywhere and there's probably a lot of new faces, but does no one ever think, damn, this kid is young. I've never seen him before. Don't these guys ever hang out after work? An all-plastic or glass prison for Magneto with an elaborate entering the cell sequence. Haven't I seen this movie before? Back when it was called X2, X-Men United? None of the mechanisms that make this work, including electrical, involve metal, apparently. This escape plan brings the threat of death by glass shards. But what is glass, really? I guess you can't be killed by clear things. The same 1970s gizmo that controlled the security cameras can also set off the sprinkler system? Yeah, no. Damn, even after all the time and the alarms and shit, this poor bastard's still taped up in the elevator and Quicksilver's clothes are still here?
They told me you control metal. You know, my mom once knew a guy who could do that.
Yeah, so I know Quicksilver is Magneto's son and everything, but the Magneto we know from X-Men First Class was a man hell-bent on revenge, consumed with finding Klaus Schmidt. When did he find time to bang chicks in America?
They told me you control metal.
And wait a second, did this elevator run to the floor where he was imprisoned? Because don't tell me you can have a f***ing elevator like this without metal, because I'll punch you in the face if you do. Wait, is this movie actually saying glass guns are a thing? And in the 1970s? Movie asks you to consider whether the world is moving in real time or the music in Quicksilver's 1970s iPod is. Regardless, the music and the action on screen we see simply cannot coexist in the same reality. Also, am I the only one who thinks this amazing scene would have been that much more amazing if they'd had the balls to run time in a bottle at 1/10 the speed? Taking off 5 cents for the Quicksilver shit because it's f***ing incredible. I'd take off more if he was actually in the movie more. This article starts out talking about the peace treaty in Paris, but switches gears to a story about murder by the third column, and repeats itself in the fourth column. Also, this article about unemployment is actually a story about a lost steamer.
Imagine if they were metal.
This is a pretty specific and cheeky thing to have him say for a guy who has no fucking clue Wolverine will actually eventually get metal claws.
Take it slow.
And then Quicksilver went back to his stupid basement teenage life and did not continue to help the X-Men or feature in this story. That's racist.
What's the matter, baby? You don't think I look pretty like this?
X-Men franchise continues to believe that men wouldn't find Mystique attractive like this. It's like putting glasses on Rachel Lee Cook or an antisocial attitude on Julia Stiles. I would paint myself blue to f Mystique. Just once I'd like to see one of these dudes not freak out, call her on her bullshit, then get his ass kicked anyway.
I didn't kill the president. The bullet curved, Eric.
Nope.
Because I was trying to save him.
Again, I have no clue how you were able to see the bullet, and if you could, why did you stop it so poorly? You have way better powers than that, dude, even if I think it's nonsense that you had a chance to stop it in the first place. Not that anyone could have stopped them anyway, but where the hell is security?
That can lock onto a mark a half a mile away and won't trigger unless it's identified the target.
So in other words, the same bullshit long-distance DNA reading technology shield built in Captain America 2? Stryker, who has his gun out, does not shoot this mutant chick. Goodbye, physics. Nice to know you.
Raven!
Geez, right at the last second. These assholes waited too long to crash this meeting. And they're just casually walking in like the whole operation was never in doubt. Eric somehow guides a bullet out a window and straight down into Mystique's leg, even though his powers do nothing to help him see where Mystique is after she leaves his field of view. Mystique chooses to change into the Black Lady, which, good for her. But she's the only black person in this sea of whiteness. How is she not going to stand out? And then she walks by herself through the roped area. What's the freaking point?
Where am I?
Wolverine conveniently begins to slip in and out of this time period, so now we can have an action sequence and let Eric catch up to Mystique.
I don't know you.
Huh? What the hell is that?
Why would either timeline's version of Wolverine not know Beast or Xavier? So he jumps between the two times and also loses memories from both times?
I'm sorry.
What the f*** is he waiting for? All these cars get pulled by Eric's magnetism, but not the stoplights, street signs, light poles, news cameras, police officer metal accoutrements, or any other metal things.
I got him.
Just in time for the big action scene to be over. Excellent. He would have come in pretty handy during that fight, too.
We have to get out of here.
Yes, the front door is definitely your best option. Terrible Nixon lookalike is terrible.
Off the record.
Damn it, you just couldn't resist making an easy Nixon recorded everything joke, could you? Movie features enough pointless dog humor, you'll swear Michael Bay directed it.
Our best defense are these giant metal robots?
Yeah, because you're in the Marvel Universe, where everything has to be giant metal robots.
C'est horrible. Quoi donc? Être né comme ça.
Mystique is saddled with an extremely chatty nurse who needs to comment on how bad it must be to look like Mystique.
How did you find me?
You taught me well.
Eric must have taught her, when looking for someone, go to a random spot in a busy-ass subway system, and that person is bound to show up. Also, isn't Eric's face everywhere on the news? He's not even attempting to hide or blend in. Oh yes, brilliant. That mansion that is in your family history and surely in your name. Excellent hiding spot. Movie keeps fabricating obstacles so that this movie can take longer.
I don't, but I know someone who might.
Not me, but I know someone else cliché. Charles rips off the Vulcan mind meld memory by touching thing from Star Trek, Unbreakable, and Underworld Evolution.
Just because someone stumbles, loses their way.
Skip.
You're afraid, and Cerebro knows it.
What?
The most human power. Hope.
Hope. Isn't this the exact same thing Ivan Vanko did in Iron Man 2? You know, the controlling the robots thing? Hey Storm, keep being awesome, girl. I sure am glad they brought you back to be a Night Watch person.
We're going backward in time.
Ironic Star Trek episode is ironic. Okay, maybe he fooled the metal scanner thing, but still, the Pentagon has some pretty shitty surveillance and security. I have no doubt that Eric knew that his helmet was being kept at the Pentagon, but he knew the exact place where his helmet was hidden? Oh look, the Sentinels of the Future are about to attack at the same climactic moment all that 1970s shit is about to go down. Okay, we get it, we're in the freaking 70s. Where were the mutant-killing robots during the first X-Men movies? Remember what Charles said.
And in less than 50 years...
It either took them 50 years to perfect the robots, or the government had mutant-killing robots that we didn't see and no one feared or talked about for years. Here's the part where Magneto lifts up an entire baseball stadium and eventually drops it down over the press conference as some kind of a barrier, despite the fact that some X-Men can fly or jump really f***ing high. And more importantly, that baseball stadiums have several exits on multiple levels, which cause them to make for poor containment barriers. I guess they saved money by shooting half the B-roll in 8mm. Man, when you watch this movie in the theater, you're like, f*** yeah, Quicksilver! But then when you watch this movie a second time, you're like, the f*** is this shit? He stopped all 120,000 pieces of shrapnel from that explosion except this one. Hey Storm, you know what happens to a mutant who can control the weather when she gets stabbed by a sentinel? The same thing that happens to everything else. Yeah, that Thor robot definitely did this exact same thing. I wasn't all that impressed then. Yes, Magneto, tiny bits of metal shrapnel are going to keep these all-powerful beasts from getting to Charles and the gang. You smart good.
In the future, do I make it?
Yes, but sadly you're played by Kelsey Grammer, so in a way, no.
Do what you were made for.
Okay, so are these things voice-controlled now? And if a simple command tells them to track and kill mutants, wouldn't that put Eric in danger? Super advanced mutant-killing robots are awful at aiming. Look decent in theaters, but now looks like some funky-ass CGI on repeat viewings cliché.
One of them is in here.
Why didn't Trask's mutant detector go off when he was on the podium and Mystique was 10 feet away? You would think they would build a presidential shelter with concrete. But no, they used steel. Because how else was Magneto going to advance the plot?
You built these weapons to destroy us. Why?
Speech time. By the way, is this a good time to mention that they've already altered history so much that their future selves should be remembering all this? And that it's very likely that they're not even at the abandoned temple anymore? There'd probably be no movie either, but you know how we do. Dang, Colossus is only in this movie to get killed by futuristic sentinels. Oh look, I was wrong. Quicksilver is in the movie again. In a completely pointless watching TV scene. Awesome. F*** you, movie. Someone gave this creepy, f***ing goggle-wearing slimy toad dude not only a job, but a job working the grill, with actual food, that people are gonna eat?
And fear for too long.
Coolest battle in the movie is relegated to voiceover and swelling music montages because, you know, the past is more important. Jeez, finally. Where the hell is the real Nixon then? Charles finally gets his slow the world down and do what you want powers back, right when it basically only matters a little bit now. Shouldn't Wolverine be dead by now? How long can that motherfucker drown before he dies? We know for a fact Mystique drops the gun, but only then does the future change. But the future doesn't need to wait for this, does it? It should have already happened. It's almost like the movie is saying 1973 doesn't affect the future until a major choice is made, and that 1973 and 2020 whatever this year is are happening concurrently. Of course, there's also the matter of there being no movie if they did this another way, but you know how we do. Oh, f*** you, movie.
Morning, Logan.
Oh hey, everything in the previous movies no longer matters anymore. I'm sure all the future X-Men spin-offs and sequels will be pure gold now that they've corrected everything. Damn, movie dwells on future happy ending crap more than the Return of the King.
What do you want us to do with the Major Striker?
I don't know, the first thing I would do is see how his lungs held that much water for a whole day without him dying. I guess I'm gonna have to Google this shit when I get a chance.
Whiplash.
The only place I've seen dwarves in dreams is in stupid movies like this. Oh, make it weird. Put a dwarf in it. Everyone will go, whoa, whoa, whoa. It must be a fucking dream. There's a fucking dwarf in it.
Expelliarmus!
Raven.
That's not my name! That's not my name! That's not my name!
You guys are always talking about the fans, the fans, the fans. She was your biggest fan. and you threw her away.
It! I'm gay!
You really hate mutants, Doctor, don't you?
On the contrary. I have a tender spot in my heart for cripples, bastards, and broken things.
Für mich nicht.
Ich mag Scotch, Scotch mag mich nicht.
Ich auch nicht, ich bleib beim Shampoos.
3 Gläser.
Bilbo Baggins! Do not take me for some conjurer of cheap tricks.
What do you want us to do with them, Major Striker?
Striker. Striker, 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 striker! Striker!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is a code red situation.
Did you order the code red? You're goddamn right I did!